Okay, we're looking at the slides taken from Pearson's Educational Limited. It's from their third edition book, Understanding Business Environment, was the way Claire Captain. And here we're looking at the structures that the organisations put in place so as to be successful and achieve their aims. And this is the main difference between making a team and a group. A group is just because people put together, whereas team again has a focus, has a drive, has motivation, has other stuff that way. So in here we're looking at first name inside the organisations. We're looking at organisations and we look at because of culture in there. Okay, that was right. So. Okay, the first one is the organisation is the simple structure because it's organically formed, and this is where the manager or owner sits at the top and the employees straight down. It is the old hierarchical structure. Is literally the situation now. Like in royalty, the king sits on top and everyone else progresses down along. Okay, its main features is everything is centralised around it's organised around the owner. And small companies in the early stage of development. Its main features. This method of doing it. The advantages: the owner controls early growth and development of the company. They can set the direction in which they want to go. The disadvantage is you're dependent on the owner. You're dependent on the central force or that's why the owner may lack specialist knowledge in some areas such as accounting, marketing, computer, IT. Okay, and it is appropriate up to a certain size only. Once you get into larger structures, multinationals, PLCs, it doesn't really apply. It doesn't really work that well. Okay, other organisation structure consists of the functional structure where everything is organized into functions such as the accounts department, the marketing department, the sales department, production. Okay, here's where you set it up across the top. You have your board of directors, and then you have each section and within each section the staff, the section heads, the leaders to do it. Okay, so very much key function that you can organize your stuff into the key areas within your organization. That was done. Again, it's very, very centralized. Everything areas pulled into the various functions. Small companies producing limited range of products associated, organized around tasks to be carried out. So the financial department looking after the accounts, sales, marketing looking after the marketing plans for the organization. Simple lines of control makes a huge advantage. It's very efficient lines of communication. It's vertically very short, so each one reports to their line manager and it goes to the next one up along. Okay, it allows specialist managers to have the function, thus giving expertise and background, and it can improve decision making because the focus is being done in the particular area by people who are experts in those areas. The disadvantage: functional managers can become overburdened with operational duties, so straight off be very much a focus on that on what's actually going on and what's actually happening, and long-term planning therefore can be neglected because they're focused on the day-to-day running. The comes stretched by growth regarding the product or specification. So if you have too many divisions, too many sections, too many countries involved, too many product types and all and it's difficult to coordinate to manage across different functions. So as it's organized around the task, around the job, it's very handy for dealing with these issues. But what happens when you need actually cross functionality? So you're pricing a new project, you need input from sales, marketing, production, finance, it can become quite difficult. The divisional structure, is where stuff is actually around a clearly marked area of autonomy or area of independence within the organisation. So for example, you would have your board directors at the top, your senior management again, you would have the centralised services that would actually deal with human resources, finance, and that would provide services to each area and then when each gets that returned is your product or service division like A, B, C, or it could be organised kind of geographically as for example, North American division, European division, Asia, Far East as well. It can be organised, as we said, on a product or geographical basis. It allows diverse range of products or services offered or geographically diverse services being done, and it allows you to specialise in this area. So, for example, business culture or customer tastes in the Far East, in China, and Japan could be significantly different from that in the United States. Divisions or profit centres in the so you can actually look at each area, how much profit is being made. So it gives a key metric or KPI, key performance indicator, to actually view as done. Okay, the decentralized structure makes it easy to manage diversity because you can actually change and tweak in each area. And division managers responsible for short-term, immediate planning, whereas the board of directors in the central areas of finance, HR now, can be responsible for strategic and long-term planning. Right, okay. Top managers therefore free the long-term planning, profitability is spread across the divisions, the products, the markets. There can end up a situation including conflict between divisions or resource allocations, so you only have such a large source of funding available and who gets what now. It can lead to competition, goal congruence. Goal congruence is where everyone pulls together to achieve the overall aims of the organisation. But in situations that can be difficult, where you're being monitored, your performance or your return or new projects being brought to that, because it can lead to overcompensation. So the entire company or organisation could suffer because one part benefits over the other. Overall coordination is different because it can be extremely difficult. Similarly, you could have a holding company structure in which regard you have a board of directors, in the financial, legal, HR, the key person that way. And what happens is here that it actually owns companies, so each one is organised within a company structure, because whether it's wholly owned or majority owned or less, that was done. This is the phrase that was a conglomerate where you actually own percentage, and you call it that way. Berkshire Hathaway, it would be a prime example here. GE, General Electric, would be another example of this, where it's actually owned by companies. Okay. It's a small head office as an investment. They're just actually monitoring performance of investments. It's decentralized. The operating companies are largely independent as well. The operating companies under their own name rather than the holding company's name, done that way. And the operating companies are required to meet strict financial targets, financial legal sections support the head office and not the operating company. So, as I said, the key rules across the organisation sit on high with the holding company, and then you have the operational segments of each company, and generally, as long as they're meeting targets or performance, the holding company, the head office, doesn't get involved in the day-to-day run of the organisations. Okay. Advantages: low central overheads, because you're very slimmed down, small section there. Risk and profits are spread throughout the organisation. It's easy investment to operate a company. So if one was that way, you could actually quite easily sell off the company, or shut it down or liquidate it, and it wouldn't have an impact on the rest of the group. Disadvantages: individual operating companies under risk of divestment by holding parent may feel threatened, and therefore won't be for long-term growth or long-term promises. There's no centralized skills, so they can't be easily shared out across the group. Okay, there is a potential lack of overall coordination, direction of the whole organisation. So, where company A and B could work together in partnership to the overall benefit of the organisation. Okay, because A and B pursue their own independent aims, they might not actually help or encourage them. Next one is the matrix structure, which tries to tackle this issue. That was a matrix structure is across where you actually have your products and your geographical area, so in other words, it's like a grid system is done. Again, up at the top, you have a board and centralized services where is done, and then what you have is you're organizing on both geographical basis and product basis. Right? Okay. A double definition, there's two arms to the metrics, as I said. So you have, regarding, as I said again, your geographical and your product base. Okay, it's found in different types of large multinational universities, departments, and sophisticated service companies. Okay, decentralized and localized decision making in the matrix. There's growth and complexity controlled by people in the matrix. So straight off, okay, it's very much driven by the people that are actively involved. Okay, there is direct contact between both houses, so it does replace bureaucracy because there's people involved. It's a lot more organic structure. Okay, there's quality decision making and increased managerial motivation because they're actually able to see how they're involved in the impact of their decisions. In the matrix, where there is a lot of disadvantages for the potentially there could be a high degree of conflict. So various arms actually turn that way. So for example, Europe might want to work with Product A, but Product A might actually work with the United States. It can take a long time to make decisions and because of unclear job and because of task responsibilities. And who you report to because of all this cross currents and cross lines in the matrix. It can be quite difficult to implement, and there's a high overhead because of cost, because there can be a degree of duplication because you report arms being dealt with. Okay, now these are the structures and that the structure is only as good regarding as the people in there, because remember the key difference between a group and team. A group only being a structure together, whereas a team regarding has some drive down. And one of the main areas because of cultures. Now, having these cultures, a theory, and it looks at different and looks at cultures because the culture is driven by power, by role, by task, by people. So the power culture turn around there because it puts like a central looks of power and it radiates out from it regardless of doing that. Okay, it's usually found in small firms with a simple structure. The owner tends to recruit employees similar in character to themselves, so they're trying to like recreate themselves within the organization. The culture is like that of a club with all the employees as the members, and power culture is very reliant on the owner. Okay, so so as I said, power exists in the center and it radiates out from there. Okay, that was done. Okay, work is divided by function or product. Okay, hence regarding the section on again. So here could be finance, here could be sales marketing, here could be production, here could be legal. Guess what's it? Okay, and guess what represents function particles. A concentric circle represents the powers and influence. The further away from the center, the weaker your power and influence is going through it that way. Okay, the role course the structure of that because it's where a situation is feeds up to hierarchy that way, but it is done by area that was done. Often found large organization functional division structure. It's been to define jobs, so it's everyone knows what their job is, knows what the role is, knows the procedure and how it's actually done because of tactical regard because it's done. Okay, the strength is obviously in the pillars because of their departments so as I said, like each one of these pillars hold up the overall organization. So if the pillar becomes weakened, guess what? It can actually lead, to the fall or the collapse of the entire organisation. Okay, it's designed for stability and continuity and is not adaptive to change. It doesn't change, or it is actually quite difficult to actually change. So, for example, to insert a new pillar, you would actually have to weaken or remove an old one, that's an existing one. Okay, the task culture, because it looks like these grids and all as well, because there's actually all these little jobs and focuses done. Okay, as often because similar to matrix structure, it's in problem solving organizations where you look at issues and problems that develop because we go through to tackle it. Okay, people resources are drawn together into a temporary team for a specific project. Once the project is completed, the team disbands and is move on to other projects. So what we see is the task or structure here, and it pulls in from all that area. And then if a new task sets up and all, it'll actually start drawing resources away. Right? The people culture then, as you see, regarding you have all these different shapes, scattered around, and exists as both regions specialists allowed in practice professions from the professions, doctors, solicitors, dentists. So what you see regarding this, what you have like your area, and then you have regarding the support services, nesting around those particular areas. Okay, so that's regard now culture drives it regard because of the focus on regard and when you put a group together regarding it does create like a team culture that way. So we look into the organizational culture, we look at the culture web, and with deals and can discuss the culture within the organization. Okay, so the cultural rarity says the paradigm because it sits in the middle in this way it's done and when it has these symbols, power structures, organizations, control system, rituals and routines and stories, and all these intermingle to actually force the center regarding that. So the organisation could determine by the values of the organisation, values of the basic concepts and beliefs of the organisation. They should be reinforced by the structure. They should be supported and also in the value. And sometimes they can be summed up okay. So Skype put a ding in the universe. Okay, Tesco's line every little helps. Okay, because of focusing on cost and range okay. There's no clearly any, because weak cultural organisations have no clear or easily understand values. There's no basis that this is what's important or structured then. Okay, employees will not know how to respond to particular situations in the workplace, and it could be like headless chickens looking for direction or looking for focus out around the organisation. That was done. Okay. External environment is very poorly managed in a weak culture and they tend to be less successful than strong cultural organisations. And the other thing too as well, your strong culture, you can actually allow your organisation to actually support and develop its people by attracting people who subscribe to and believe in this basis of its belief system. So hence regarding lots of community groups or organisations such as the success of sporting organisations up and down the country, such as the GAA or the IRFU, the rugby clubs and all as well. These the soccer clubs. These are all are drawn regarding that way with like-minded people with a common belief and structure going forward. Strong cultures then have a clear and explicit philosophy in how to conduct business, okay, and because of management will reshape its values and belief. In this, you should link this in to the video that we've already looked at in regards to Dan Pink and motivation, where he speaks quite clearly on the need for purpose maximization and how that can help to motivate and drive people. Okay, strong cultural organisations ensure values are relevant to external environment, can communicate and understood by all employees. And generally, this is the structure, it can be a top-down method in which regard management subscribes to it and say this is important or this is what you're signed up for, or it can be a grassroots level upwards we're saying where people actually develop within the organisation through consultation and engagement. Both have their merits. An imposed one can be done quickly and put in regard done, whereas a grassroots level it'll be probably maybe more successful simply because it actually pushes people into saying this is what we believe in, this is who we are, this is what we sign up for, this is what we're all about. Okay, so it can lead to areas of consideration to be dealt with. Okay. In a strong cultural organisation, the employees know how their what is important to respond in a given situation. They know what is the policy, what's the structure, what's important, what they agree or believe with, to sign up for. Okay, they manage the instructional environment well because they know what's expected, what's required, and what actually needs to be tackled or dealt with. And if you're doing this, it's more likely to succeed as an organisation. Okay, so continue on. In dealing with the cultural web, which is this diagram we actually see as symbols, because of the power, because of the symbols, power structure, organisation structure, control system, features within stories, working around it to reinforce it. Okay, because that represents the determination of the organization culture. They look at the factors actually considering taken for granted because it assumes the organisation, the physical indicators, the structures, right? These are things that just people believe exist and conform, right? Okay, so let's look at routines. Are the schedules and deliberate practice of day-to-day life in an organisation, ensuring the smooth running of the organisation? So it's when lunch break is taken, when organisation meetings occur, when regarding deadlines are actually accepted, okay. Rituals then are used to reinforce that. They include induction, training course, and routines will be very clear and important to strong cultural organisations that way. So I think a behaviour that actually sets in how things are actually done. Stories then, okay, because represent organizational history and highlight significance in people in the past, and use these as benchmarks for us because the standards actually set instead of where things actually go and return. Okay, they are told by to new organisation members, by the existing members, to highlight acceptable and unacceptable behaviour within the organisation, okay, because it's just like anecdotal evidence, so because of how things are actually behaving or expected to behave. And the symbols within the organisation represent the power an individual has in an organisation, okay, and indicate the value of an individual to the organisation, and so how important and how much done, because it's akin to status symbol within the organisation, because the power structures then the group's individual with power underpinned by a common set of values and belief, and often based on tactical or professional expertise. So they get their power from regarding their working together, but it's often based on the ability. So the finance department setting the budget regarding the production department controlling production schedules, the board of directors by their basic existence and legal position. The organisation structure then determines where the power will exist, so is it the simple structure, is it the full, therefore the power rests with the owner, is it functions and the power rests with senior management, is the matrix structure, because the power is actually spread throughout the organisation, because of the task structure where it's focused on the groups and projects actually being done. Okay, divisional structure, as I said, power spread throughout the organisation. Matrix structure, power rests with the individuals in the matrix working and the tasks of tackling. Control systems then monitor what's important to your organisation. It can monitor money, budgets, people's, reward systems, work efficiencies and effectiveness and all that. These are your metrics. These are your methods, because it's stuff to use to measure or meter, because what's going on. I also refer to as your key performance indicators. And this is the criteria, because it's generally that's used that people actually done and because they get rewarded by, because of you do a good job, you actually achieve your rewards and there. Now, in doing this and setting your culture regard, because what Steele and Kennedy, two theories structure, and they said that they considered that there be 4 different types of power structures or cultures within the organisation. There was the tough guy or macho culture, there's the work hard, play hard culture, there's bet your company culture, there's the process culture. And this is how it's linked to regarding how you actually deal with the speed of feedback that you get back. In other words, the impact that your decisions making and the risk that you actually have to take to actually that result. So if the risk is quite low and the feedback is very slow to come back to you, it's like it's considered a process culture. Very much like the civil service, because it's a step-by-step approach. I do this, and then I do the next step, and then the next step, and then the next step. Eventually we make a decision. Right. If the risk is quite low regarding okay, but regarding you get the feedback very, very quickly you get the response back now, because it's work hard, play hard routine, okay, so it's you're constantly working, you're constantly putting in an effort in order as well, however, if the risk you must take is actually high and the feedback is actually slow, it's what's referred to as a better company culture. Because the feedback is actually slow and the risk so high, you could end up in a situation where you actually make a situation where it gets so bad that by the time it comes to light, it actually could consider to destroy the company. For example, Barings Bank, okay, and because they were previously regarded trades and financial dealings was actually done by one dealer had reached such a level that it actually gets destroyed this bank that had been in existence for 100-200 years. Similarly, the banking structure, was out there, that as long as there was growth, as long as it was entered, they were happy enough now. And it's very, very slow, because you're talking about dealing with loans and other financial measures that would actually maybe taking 30-40 years to actually work this out through. And these set off when they started becoming bad very, very quickly, it actually leads to finance down. The last one said a high was the pressure and very, very rapid is tough guy macho after. It's very much very, very pressurized, very, very energetic and a change in an instant could actually help use so turn thinking like dealings at the stock exchange where a sudden announcement can suddenly to change how the performance of the organisation very, very quickly. So the tough guy, mature aspect, decision making is short-term, rapid and risky. Success is short-term for the organisation. Failure is condemned and often by dismissal. Okay, so you're talking like chief executive officers, because of senior management, okay, failure is not an option, it's not acceptable, it's not acceptable. Okay, it's almost impossible in tough guy market for long-term success and the creation of a strong culture, because there is so much rapid change and development growth occurring. It causes real issues and problems now. Okay, the work hard, play hard culture, then the decision making is short term, it's rapid and low risk, and often finding customer oriented organizations we actually trying to deal with satisfying the customer's immediate needs. Okay, feedback is clear, targets that we met or not met, i.e. for example in a sales organization, we're saying we're selling 1,000 units this week. Okay, motivation focus on staff, individuals and team to succeed by meeting targets. So the target is what actually drives it. The target is what focuses the culture as well. Okay, sir. Okay, return and do the rewards are there, the motivation is there, but you must meet your target. You must meet the aims and what's actually required for you to actually achieve growth and development within the organisation. Okay, the better company, the decision making is long term and high risk, large and long term investments in research and development and innovation. So for example, in the current news we're hearing about regarding Boeing and their issues that they have with their new jet regarding of the MAX, okay, in which a software bug supposedly causing regarding are being linked with regard with a number of airplane crashes. Okay, so issues now because problems and issues right, so a whole lot done. The process culture, then decision making is long term, low risk, external environment is predictable and stable, right, and what's the job titles and roles, what's important, you deal with, so very much regarding who you're, what the structure is what drives it now as well. Okay, employee focus on being methodological, punctual, and things are done on time. Okay, so that leads you into areas regarding issues and whole lot of now we're going into the organisation behaviour, and now we're starting to see regarding groups in there and introducing what the difference between groups and tribes. So we now have our structure in place, we now have our culture in place, and what's actually believed in, what's actually acceptable, what's actually required, and all is done. Okay, and what's the next step and all tackle it is done. Right. Okay. So the main theories in here are Frederick Wilson Taylor, Mayo, Mayo, Peter Drucker, Douglas McGregor, which is huge of popularity, up to Raphael Riesling, and Rosabeth Moss Cantor. Okay, so let's have a look at these ones. Taylor, from 1856 to 1917, and he was one of scientific management, it's about regarding the right people, right, in studying because Elton Mayo followed on from some very, very famous experiments, the Hawthorne studies, which basically tells us that if you're monitored or if you're reviewed, just done. Okay, Peter Drucker from 1909 to 2005, it looks at the 7 tasks that tomorrow's managers looked at. Douglas McGregor looks at theory X and theory Y. We believe there's X-type people and Y-type people, lazy people and not so lazy people that way. And Rosabeth Moss, in 1943, she's born, she's currently Professor of Business Administration at Harvard in the United States, and looks at innovation in organizations. So let's look at Taylor. His theory was called scientific management, and it says people dislike work but will undertake it to earn a living. It links in with the hierarchy and needs that Maslow has, which will be as I mentioned elsewhere. And what happens in regard is you're actually looking at tackling there's respect given from people for fair supervision, but there should be a direct link between pay and productivity. The better you work, the more you get paid. Okay, Mayo looks at the whole thing of human relations. He looks at the Hawthorne experiments, and what the Hawthorne experiments was an experiment by General Electric in their Hawthorne plants, in the United States. And what they did is they brought in scientists to actually study what was the best way to organise the organisation to achieve productivity. And what they found is that they changed the variables within the factory and seen that's the problem. So it was too warm, production went up. It was too cold, production went up. It was just right, production went up. It was too bright, production went up. It was too dark, production went up. It was just right, production went up. Right? Because of issues, as I said, right? And a whole lot regard of tackling areas that until they actually analysed all the stuff and actually found out that the only common factor was that the people being monitored knew to be watched. So the idea was that the people who are being watched, production goes up. Okay, and what happens is what's to go through that they actually turn into fail. So give by extra base and time off work and all because expected small increases in productivity. However, productivity grow due to the attention paid to workers by research, and this is becoming known as the Hawthorne effect. Okay, right? And Peter Durkheim, he management by objective. He looks at the 7 tasks of management. He said, you manage by the objective. You answer what you're trying to achieve. You must take more risks. You must take more strategic decisions. And it's the planning for the long term that goes there. You must build an integrated team. Because so that was it was that way. And this links in with the Belbin test where it says because of the characteristics and all that time. You communicate clearly and motivate regardless of what's of your staff. Okay, view and understand the organisation as a whole and understand the external environment of its impact on it. So it's about understanding what's going on within the organisation, understanding what's going out the organisation, but making your staff, your team, that was it. And note gets clear and an integrated team, an integrated group. Okay, Douglas McGregor pushed two on, right? Okay. Because theory X and theory Y. It believed that there is 2 types of people, X and Y. X people dislike work and riot and tight supervision required is a need for an autocratic manager. Whereas Y people regard work as normal, as self-motivated, managers develop cooperation because of relationships with the staff. Understand? And you need to try and find which type of people you have and develop which style is actually needed. Okay, Roosevelt Moss Cantor then because it says management and organisation behaviour because the change masters. The organisation is systems, practices, cultures and rewards which encourage people to be enterprising and motivated and all so I need to have the system in there, I need to have the behaviour this here and the culture there and I need to actually offer rewards regardless to motivate people. Yeah, because so focus on is valuing people's problem solving, enterprise and initiative skills. So putting it back to people. So along regards McGregor, because it's saying that people are more Y class regarding want to work, want to solve, want to fix the issues that way. Right? All of these theories now are down, but unless you actually need to bring it all down to understanding the individuals in the organizations, you must understand their values, you must understand their attitudes, you must understand their perceptions, and only by doing this, can you actually stay from having a group and suddenly get into a situation where you're actually creating a team. So let's look at values. Values then you're talking now are the guiding principles which determines what their behaviour acceptable or not within an organisation. Okay, so for example, in terms of values are desirable outcomes it's also high quality, innovation, customer service, customer focus issues on that. Okay, so for example, because I said your terminal values being high quality, excellence, innovation, profitability, and social responsibility, which is growing more and more these days. Instrumental values then, because we get there would be being helpful and friendly, hard-working, clean and tidy, capable, accurate, creative. These instrumental values will allow you to achieve your terminal values. It's the preferred types of behaviour be accurate, helpful or creative, and they're preferred because they will actually lead you to that way. There are unwritten values too as well regarding what's referred to as shared norms, beliefs and assumptions within between staff and other circles. So if people subscribe or believe in a certain thing, it can actually lead to them achieving their aims and goals. Attitudes within individuals. Job involvement, the extent which you identifies with their job and how much you actually get down, so what to do good. Organisation commitment, to rate which an individual is loyal to the employer, and job satisfaction reflects in this attitude to the job. Are you happy there, okay? Do you put in the extra effort? Do you feel valued within the organisation? Okay. Perception then is distinctiveness or degree to which an individual behaves differently in different situations. Okay, so how would you actually, so consensus extends where because a collection of individual agrees, and consistency there's similar individual data. So when distinctiveness regard, because I said, because they actually look at how you actually behave or deal with regard because certain stuff is actually tactically done. Okay, there's an internal attribute regard because given to the individual is given by low agreement, high consistency, because and low distinctiveness. An external attribute is given if there is agreement, because consistency and distinctiveness are all because quite high. Okay, so groups and organisations, guess what? So you can have group membership, group development, and group performance. Guess what? But unless you get that buy-in, the group will not become a team. Okay, so group membership, because that was, so for example, command groups are determined by the organisation, depending on hierarchical relations, where straight off is actually turn on done inside, you answer to this person. A task group then is determined by the organisation, depending on hierarchical, so for example, the project team, so it could be from different sections or areas within the organisation. Okay, interest groups are informal groups that band together to achieve a common goal, and it could be like your local tidy towns group, your local community charity. They could also be too as well within a group like sports and social club. They could be also based along the lines of quality control or dealing with a particular matter or issue that has actually come. Friendship groups then are informal based on shared social activities, shared sports and social club to an extent. Okay, now group development, because the theorist in this area is called Tuckman, and he looks at now what Tuckman says is there's various stages in the development of the group, and the first one is forming, where the relationship with the group is actually created and linked and all, where the ground rules are established. So this is how this operates. This is that you would set your vision, you would set the purpose, you would set how it's actually going to. Now, once that is formed or created, comes into existence, the next thing is the storming, where hostility and conflict can rise to the surface now, and control and priorities are established now. Okay, so now you're actually setting down more permanent ways of actually dealing and tackle it. The third stage then is norming, is where it starts to settle and there's cooperation in the group and a task allocated. Now, an area where a storming can actually occur is when the group has been set by management to look at that, and the members of the group are actually concerned or worried about the motivations of management. Why are they actually setting it up? Why is it done? What's the ulterior motive? Okay, and that means norming can occur when people actually accept that what's there actually goes on, that there may not be ulterior motive. It may be that way, and started to accept it now. Only once these things are done can the group actually begin performing, and flexibility and openness helps ensure the tasks are completed. Okay, and the stage 5 then disbanding the group members move on to new projects they deal with. Okay, in dealing with roles, there are as expected and perceived roles may overlap. So you could have someone regarded through their talents and their abilities, such as is identified regarding the development test, which you have to complete for yourself. Can actually look at where a person's skill will actually assign to the position that they hold within a group. So there may be a leader, would actually good leadership skills. There may be an enabler or coordinator that would actually have those skill sets as well. Okay, the status, issues, so the social work conferred on an individual that they are perceived to have in value, and the norms define acceptable behaviour in the group, help establish consistent behaviour and conduct and what's actually acceptable. Okay, in order to achieve your group now and start heading towards the team, you need to get cohesiveness, because the increases in group members have common goals and approach work and common opinions and aims and start tackling that. Okay, however, there is always the need within any type of group or organisation for there to be leadership. There has to be someone providing the goals or the direction with the organisation is actually heading in okay, and issue here that way, so charismatic leadership, it's like their force of personality, their visionary, where they provide regarding the direction that or team leadership regarding which loyalty So charismatic leader will be positive, self-confident in their own ability, clear vision of a direction, because now a person, so it's their charisma, their personality, their confidence, and all that actually drives them there. Okay, they will try to create an organisation where staff will be self-motivated and seek to contribute to the organisation. Okay, visionary leader will create and communicate a credible vision for the organisation beyond its current situation. So they would actually start because they'll point you in the direction which you're going, which you actually need to be achieving in that. Okay, develops objectives, and plans for the organisation to support that vision. So here's like an end goal type person where they're actually aiming you to be and achieve. Team leaders, though, because are more like an enabler, and they trust their team to share information with them, manage the team's relationship with the department or organisation, which is based with other stakeholders and so that way. So it's literally they become a supporter, servant, to the team, and this is the big deal. If we actually look at it beforehand regarding HL, that way we have been talking about regarding groups. Okay, it is only when leadership, when participative leadership, when trust, when communication, that do we actually start to develop a team. Okay, and that's key because for your first assignment that you have to get your team done. Okay, team leaders they help resolve problems and conflicts. Team negotiate for more different resources because what's necessary that way, and this is key. They have to be seen as an honest broker. They have to it's seen that actually people actually buy in and subscribe to these people as being the drive and motivation behind it. Okay, so that's and then this is the key part of actually assessing the job or analysing what's the issue what is done when actually tackling leadership. Right. So in turn, you need to collect the information on the tasks, active jobs, responsibilities, and conditions which the job is done. Because a leader, you need to examine the current job description, speak to the current job holder, manager, peers, and subordinates, and all as well. Okay. You need to look in then because if you're a seeking person for this role, you need to update the job to identify job summary, content, work conditions, performance standards as expected. Okay, and then because the second thing is you need to the person specification, who is in there, who's that, and here's where Belbin fits in regarding because you're actually identifying the key cells now, and you have a lot of organizations which actually do require people to do psychometric testing, which actually tests the psyche, take the cognitive, the thinking, the hard skills the person has, as well as the soft skills of who the person is. So in doing this way, you really update with the job description, you transfer jobs into required skills and abilities, you update personal specifications outline the person. Okay, and in doing this, you can actually do Rogers and theory scenarios has a 7-point plan draw up a set of criteria to assess all applicants, to decide which criteria will be essential and which is desirable. So of physical makeup, attainment, general intelligence, special aptitudes, interests, disposition, circumstances, so physical makeup, they say to that is that physical strength is because that way attainment, qualification, because that general intelligence, your knowledge base, special aptitudes, qualification, accountancy, medicine, law, science, interests and all as well, because it's people management, disposition, the type of personality, circumstances, where they are in their life, because it's a trainee starting out, because it's amongst the experience. So physical makeup provides effective performance of the job, includes appearance, health, fitness, manner, voice, okay, and can be somewhat superficial. Okay, attainment deals with education and previous employment, covers qualifications and type of amount of work. General intelligence is assessed as a job requires complex work problems, has different level of general intelligence to that because of repetitive routine. So are you creative thinking, or is it like process based? Because the special aptitudes are already acquired knowledge or skills required for effective performance in job, qualified accountant, solicitor, etc. Ability to adapt to existing skills and knowledge. Okay, interest covers relevant out work activities to support the application of employment. Team building, support, encouraging, people management skills, because there would be examples. Okay, disposition covers your characteristics and all as well. So because you're good at meeting tight deadlines, you work well in teams, you work well in your own initiative, right? Okay, right, because that's a whole lot to as well regarding this personal circumstances where they will have to be met by successful after. So for example, shift work, working away from home, lots of traveling, being on call. Okay, and the key results area then, because we look at this whole thing, is that what are the expected goals you want, that what is the basis for his or her appraisal, so are they actually doing a good job? Okay, in doing it, you place the advertisement, place it in an area because actually look at it, because it's the national press, local press, job centres, employment agencies, unified creators, student creators. That way, the advertisement should, because the organisation, job description, because the key requirements for job, salary and scale, and how a person can apply for the vacancies. You do your assessment of applications, so what does the applicant need, qualifications, work experience, aptitude. Does the applicant meet the criteria? Reject anyone when it doesn't meet the essentials. Okay, posted once I look at this essential and desirable criteria, because what's the metric? So scene setting, application forms, candidate questions, close the interviews will be your interviews because they're structured and well. Okay, so assessment carries your first interview, second interview, active tests of special needs and all carry second interviews because we don't well. You're good if you choose the appropriate environment, private and quiet, seek to relax the applicant. Set the scene by recapping the job, structure interview around the application or the personal specifications, ensure relevant questions are asked, questions to allow you to assess the criteria is done, opening the questions, allow the person the opportunity to actually express themselves, give you a rounder picture of the candidate, allow the applicant to get the extra questions, it's a two-way communication process to get them involved and all, and close the intent of when and how they will know the outcome of the interview and tag the candidate for coming. Okay, finally, just suggest the effort, check the references, then confirm the appointment. And in doing this and tackling this regard, because it is important in each area, the team, the directory structure, and that's what your Belbin would actually because in setting your team, you need actually people that would be involved, and because of success done, because of what's actually requirements and all, because to do. Now, you have one final area to actually the whole thing about operations management and looking in it is manufacturing service organisation, look at it that way. We're talking about day-to-day running, actually what the business is involved, okay? And organisations that make things or do things for people, and the operation management participants are similar for both manufacturing service or okay? So, for example, activities levels, because one sector could have 3 different levels. So, for example, in the oil industry, primary would be drilling for the oil, secondary would be refining the oil into petrol, diesel, and tertiary would be selling the petrol. And you would actually have companies that would be involved in all 3 levels. Texaco being an example. Okay, primary sector could obviously produce raw materials, coal mining, farming. Because secondary sector provides goods, bread, petrol. Because tertiary sections are your retail sectors, so petrol station, banks. Okay, you also can have not-for-profit organisations, including charities, religious organisations, Oxfam, Church of England, the Roman Catholic Church. Private sector goods, including coastal companies selling goods and services, for Nissan motor cars and KFC selling fast food. Public sector organisations, sometimes referred to as not-for-profit, regardless as well. But they're more state-backed, so state Department of Education, national HSE in Ireland, refuse collection, waterworks, roads, Gardaí, Army. Okay, now right. In terms of operations, you actually need to look at it. So you need to look at the situation as I need to look at the location, I need to look at the process and supply performance, I need to look at the area quality, in production development, and I need to look at inventory management, I need to look at scheduling, in forecasting, I would need to be looking at areas of material requirement plans and purchasing out in layout of facilities. I'd look at just-in-time management system and look at the maintenance. So location strategies, product-based location, market-based location, vertical differentiation. So product-based location, you're based it around your product on. So, for example, the oil refinery is based near the oil field. That's what that. Market-based regard actually services, your hotel and all this located near concert venue, a beach, an attractive drive, right? And vertically differentiate the locations. We actually look at the differentiating about up or down because of the supply chain. Okay, so development for a process now, because we're actually looking at so first off, your team in the generation of ideas, evaluation of those ideas, design, development and prototype, commercial evaluation, final stage of production development, and then leading to production device with that launch. This is a key area because the teams and groups are involved in as well, and you get it regarding because when there's a team, a commitment in it regarding, because you actually try to tackle it much further. And in doing it, because you're looking to generate production and generation idea relies on a number of sources because ideas for new products or services. No one has all the right answers, and no one has all the facts because they're completely inside. So you need regarding team approach. Because you're selling into a market of individuals. So you need an individual viewpoint on how to proceed by different genders, age groups, demographic, economic, geographical, social backgrounds. Evaluation, you need to filter out ideas with differences and deficiencies, weaknesses. And product development, you also need to technical development. Can the product be made? Is there any patent problems? For example, licensing, does the person need to get someone's permission? How competitors to render feasible idea obsolete? So you react, someone else is doing research and development would actually end your product in trouble. You can look at developing a prototype to actually see feasible, or take market financing for example, seeing will product make a profit, and use the information from technology and technical markets and financial registration, turn product develop into a finance product, so tweak it, change it, and finally launch your project in the marketplace. Okay, in terms of regard in that way, in dealing with the key area for you to actually forecast or look at quantitative, so in other words data, numbers, so historical data, or qualitative, because you look at personal insights, panel consensus, market surveys. I must refer to the Delphi method, which is actually looking at seeking insight, done. Okay, in laying out your facilities, so you look at regard you need to actually look at the most effective, smooth, and efficient workflows that way. So for example, how you lay out your process, step by step, your product layout, a hybrid layout, a fixed so process layout like a production line going from A to B. Product layout, where you actually put the product at the center and I can show you how to actually make out. Hybrid is cost between these and fixed position where a structure that is actually laid out. Okay. Performance can be measured in these areas then by capacity, how much you can produce, so your utilization, productivity, how much capacity is used, how much productivity you're making, how many goods are made, the efficiency, effectiveness, how quickly you're actually making it, how cheaply you're actually making it, and look at process flow charts to identify any bottlenecks, so gaps in the area which are actually slowing down your production, and this can actually be remedied or dealt with. Okay. In doing this, because of process, because we understand so circle being in operation, because then we transport, which actually means operation means something's been done, transport has been moved, square because been inspection, it's been checked out regarding because what's it, the half circle being a delay regarding necessity because of clocking and time, and because what's it, because the upside down because of triangle because being situated as a store where the item is literally because it's sitting there waiting to move. Okay. In dealing with this, you need to we're looking at material requirement because of planning, what's it, and this is straight off because it's dependent inventory systems relies on production plans to determine management of stock levels, and one of the main issues they're doing that was what's called a just-in-time or JIT system, and it's a dependent demand system, which means the storage of goods and service is simply dependent regarding on how actually people behave now. The stock arrives with literally just as is needed for the next step of production. Okay, in tackling all these, we're looking for quality. Get it right first time is to drive. What's called TQM, total quality management. Working with sales to effects now, and by doing quality, what you look at the same is to meet or perfectly exceed customers' expectations. Okay, in doing all this, you need scheduling, because you use it making sure utilization of labour and equipment is optimal, helping achieving low cost and higher utilization. Okay, in dealing with your schedules and how it is tackling, you're actually looking what's it doing, is it going to be like first come first serve, it's going to be a fixed schedule, that this done, it's going to be an appointment based system where people actually done, or it's going to be like delayed delivery where it's actually manufactured and sit in the source and then be delivered at a later time. Okay. Key for driving this is that because items and goods and services that are actually needed are available as is and when actually required. So this is a key area because of the purchasing department. So you're looking at wholesale regard because of centralizing purchase. So you're not you can achieve economies of scale, economies of scope. You could decentralize. You could have it more specifically made but hence to lose out in bulk discounts. You can look for a combination of both regard. Okay, maintenance should always be done for health and safety, for also regard to prevent downtime for stuff breaking down and ceasing regard right? Okay, because that unplanned maintenance aims to reduce frequency and impact of failures, and unplanned maintenance deals with breakdowns as they occur. Okay, so that situation issue because we're going to done as a few areas to get that. Now, the same with scheduling, layout, forecast, and all. That's the job of a team. That's what's done, because there is no one or group, there is no one person involved in operations management unless the organisation is very, very small, as in like a sole trader type thing, because that way. So a whole lot regarding having these people, the abilities and skills done. In regards to what's assessing the applicants or others as well, is the vital importance that you actually have the right person in there, the right role, the right specs, because the job title done, which is actually covered or done. Okay, and that's the situation because where like is the test such as Belbin comes from, which you should complete regarding to see do you agree because what's the type because a person or role that you actually play because in team. Okay, and the whole thing about team leadership and visionary is one of the key because the things that actually takes us a group because what's it from being a group to being an actual team that has direction, it is vision, it is perception, and that is done. Okay, and then because you look at all the theories regards group development and because what's done because of such as Tuckman and his forming, storming, norming, performing, disbanding because done. Okay, and as well as that, the other because the theorists and all involved regard because of so Roseman Kant with their change masters, McGregor with his X and Y theory because of people, Druckmann with his integrated team and management by abstractions, Elton Mayer with his scientific management, human relations and Horton experiments because of being turned that constructor. Okay, so hold up because looking in these because the structures and all fit in the cultures and that because so key area in your assignment is to examine and look at all these and actually determine areas in which case what it is that either sectors, industries, or even individual companies where these would actually work on. And giving a reason why you actually feel for it, because this being a subjective piece when you're giving your opinion, there's no such thing like as a right answer or a wrong answer, as long as you can actually justify it and actually merit it. So some thought and consideration was there. Okay, I hope because if you enjoyed the lecture, I hope because it's been of interest to you as well, and you've seen what's actually involved. The slides are available on Moodle. They would have been emailed out to you previously too as well. So hopefully you engage and deal with them. Okay, this is Pat Carrick for Griffith College Limerick. In regards to this has been this presentation in relation to teams, groups, teams, groups, and of culture. And because if looking focus on the Belbin test, and I look forward to dealing with you again. Looking forward to your Btec PDML because what's assigned on successful team building.